Welcome to Living in Philadelphia Suburbs. My name is Neil Fish, and today we're going to talk about cost of living in the Philadelphia area. We're going to also compare living in the city of Philadelphia proper to living in the suburbs of Philadelphia. We're also going to compare the Philadelphia Metropolitan Statistical Area, MSA they call it, to other cities on the East Coast such as Boston, New York, Washington, D.C. People have asked me, can I afford to live in the Philadelphia area? Well, hopefully today we're going to answer that. So, if you're looking to move to the suburbs of Philadelphia, around the suburbs of Philadelphia, or possibly after this video, out of the Philadelphia suburbs, and I don't care if it's 9 days, 9 weeks, or 9 months from now, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, because I and my team want to help you make a smooth move. Let's get into this right now. Okay, what we're going to do is more macro, looking at the MSA and comparing it, and then we'll drill down, get a little more granular, and take a look at more specific costs and areas. We're going to talk about housing costs, utility costs, transportation costs, healthcare costs, the taxes. Taxes are a big deal. There's some advantages to living in Pennsylvania if you're an older individual. Let's first compare Philadelphia to some of the other major metropolitan areas on the East Coast. Cost of Living Index, they call it, COLI. The national average number published by the federal government is 100. Philadelphia, the index number is 104. For New York City, the number is 187. For Boston, 148. And for DC, 158. Baltimore is more down around 100, but then you're going to have to live in Baltimore. So I think we'll skip over Baltimore if it's okay with you. If it's not, let me know in the comment section and I'll get you some info on Baltimore. I know people who can help you move to Baltimore if that's what you want to do. Based on the COLI, the housing costs in Philadelphia area are approximately 1% less than the national average. Utility costs are approximately 8% more, transportation 7% higher, healthcare 8% less. And we've talked about it in the past. Philadelphia is a healthcare hub. We have Jefferson University, Temple University, University of Pennsylvania, Children's Hospital. I'm not trying to leave anybody out, but those are major international healthcare centers, and they're all right here in Philadelphia. Competition's great, so you can get the best doctors in the world, and it's a little bit less expensive than it is in other parts of the United States, and that's really a good thing. Let's talk about housing. Housing in the suburbs is more expensive than it is in the city. We've seen the Colonial School District, the recent transactions. The average price has been $500,000. For those of you who aren't good at math, that's $500,000. That's a lot of money. In the city, can you buy a house for $200,000, $300,000? Absolutely. And they'll be pretty nice. For $300,000 in most of the neighborhoods, you can probably buy yourself a rehabbed house, except in the more recently popular neighborhoods where the younger folks are moving, where the prices are going to be more similar to what they are in the suburbs. The big difference is property taxes. In the city of Philadelphia, property taxes are relatively low. In the suburbs, you're going to pay probably at least double what you would be paying in the city. But then again, you look at those quality of life items that we've talked about many times. What do you get for your property taxes in the city versus what do you get for your property taxes in the suburbs? And that, of course, brings us to education. In the city or in the suburbs, you can send your kids to public school and there's no additional charge. Private schools in the city, and there are over 200 private schools in the city of Philadelphia, the average cost is somewhere around $10,000 a year. And that would cover most of the private schools as well as the Catholic high schools. So it's going to cost you about $10,000 a year. If you're going to send your kids to Penn Charter or something like that, it's going to cost you $40,000 a year. So I've said it before, education in Philly can depend on your pocketbook, but you have lots of choices, and that's a really good thing. Where can I live in the suburbs? It's relatively inexpensive. I have 3 options for you. There's plenty more, but these are 3 that are known to have relatively relatively low taxes for the benefits that you get for living in their suburb. First one is Parkside in Delaware County. It's right outside of Chester. Good transportation, low crime, good place to live. Glenside in Montgomery County, 30 minutes to Center City. Great regional transportation, including the train. Great neighborhoods, a lot of good restaurants, places to go. And also Jenkintown, another great place, good transportation, relatively low taxes, good schools, good shopping, good place to live. The low tax places outside the city are Newtown Square, that's in Broomall Marple area, Levittown in Bucks County, which is known for broad diversity and relatively low taxes, and Springfield in Delaware County, which has a great school district and great diversity of housing options and also good transportation. Regional Rail stops there in Morton. The media trolley line runs right through Springfield, takes you down to 69th Street, catch you all downtown, and there's also good bus service. So you have numerous ways to get into Philadelphia from Springfield. The high tax areas in the suburbs, Lower Merion, Radnor, Cheltenham, all renowned for high taxes. You have good school districts? Yeah. You have good amenities? Yeah, but you're going to pay higher taxes. So, if you go into the suburbs, you have choices. You can pick your poison, as it were. Okay, utilities. Philadelphia proper is served by PECO, Philadelphia Electric Company, and PGW, Philadelphia Gas Works, and the Philadelphia Water Department. I think the interesting thing about Philadelphia is the utilities were some of the first in the country. So the utilities are 8% more. Comparing the suburbs to the city is a little bit more interesting. Natural gas in the city of Philadelphia is 25% more expensive than it is in the suburbs where it's delivered by PECO, Philadelphia Electric Company. But there's some trade-offs, because if you live in a row house and you're in the middle, you have your two neighbors are keeping your house warm. And I've seen that on houses that I've rehabbed. Obviously, you have no heat when they're being interiorly demolished. The houses on either side help keep you warm. PECO provides electricity both in the city and in the suburbs, so that's pretty much the same. The water in the suburbs is different water companies, but that depends on what municipality you live in. So quite honestly, the difference in utilities between the suburbs and the city, it's pretty much a wash. It's about the same. Let's talk about transportation. We've talked about SEPTA extensively in the past. Currently, the SEPTA fare for the buses and the subways and the elevated lines, the streetcars, trolley cars, is $2. They recently announced they're thinking of raising it to $2.90. Now, $2 is the pay in advance with your app or your transit card. If you pay cash, it's $2.50. The problem for SEPTA is since the pandemic, ridership is down. It has not recovered fully. And even before the pandemic, they had a serious deficit for every ride that was taken. A lot of people ride at reduced rates. A lot of people ride for free. I've mentioned before with SEPTA, if you're over 65, you get a free fare card. You can ride all the SEPTA, including the regional rail, for free. If you're 12 years or younger, you ride for free also. The monthly pass currently on SEPTA is approximately $96. If you're taking the train has zone fares. So if you're traveling farther, it's more, but its basic is $96 for the regional rail. Now, $3 a bus ride sounds like a lot, but what's it cost to keep an automobile? And that's the next question. Parking in Philadelphia is a big problem. Most people don't have a driveway to pull their car into. So you're either parking on the street, you're buying a city permit for $75 a year, or you're leaving it to chance. If you have private parking, it's expensive in the city. Insurance for your car in the city is basically double what it is in the suburbs. In the suburbs, you're paying somewhere $1,200 to $2,000. In the city, you're paying probably $2,000 to $3,500, in that range. The density, more accidents, more car thefts, everything. So it's a big difference. So maybe public transportation makes a lot of sense for almost everyone, because $96, that's $3 a day. That's a whole heck of a lot cheaper than owning a car. We talked about healthcare based on the Philadelphia MSA is 8% lower than the national average. All the teaching hospitals and the big medical centers are in the city of Philadelphia, but they all have outposts all around in the suburbs. So the the doctor that you see in the suburbs is the same doctor who practices at the hospital downtown Center City, West Philly, wherever, if it's Penn or Children's Hospital, wherever you are availing yourself of those medical services. So you're getting the very best healthcare for less than the national average. Let's talk about taxes. Philadelphia has this thing called the wage tax. The wage tax is 3.75% if you're a Philadelphia resident. If you live outside the city and work in the city, you pay a little bit less. I think it's about 3.5%. If you live in the suburbs, I don't know if it's most, but many, particularly in Montgomery County, have an earned income tax, and it's 1% in most places. So that's what you're looking at. 1% versus 3.75. That's a big difference. If you're making $100,000 a year, $2,750. That's your car insurance bill, or a nice little vacation, or your dinners out every week. It can make a big difference. One more thing about taxes in Pennsylvania, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you're a retiree, not only do you have the SEPTA card, but you pay no tax on your pension, your Social Security, or your IRA 401k distributions. Now, there's still federal tax, of course, depending on your situation, but there's no Pennsylvania state tax on any of that. So when people say retirement, everybody thinks of Florida or lately South Carolina, but I think Pennsylvania. If you're going to retire, you have great hospitals, great doctors, low taxes, good places to live, good transportation, all kinds of amenities, entertainment type amenities that you can take advantage of. It works for me. So there you have it. That's cost of living in Philadelphia. Little bit above the national average based on the COLI, but in many areas less. So what are our key takeaways from this video on cost of living? Philadelphia offers you a great balance of affordability and urban amenities. Makes it way more cost effective than Boston, New York, or Washington, D.C. And although Baltimore or Richmond would be a less expensive place to live by far, they certainly don't have the amenities that Philadelphia has to offer you. Housing costs are a significant factor in Philadelphia that makes it extremely affordable compared to Boston and New York. Taxes and healthcare are relatively moderate, and there's those advantages that we spoke of. So, Philadelphia is a strong case. If you're looking for that East Coast accessibility without the exorbitant costs of some of those bigger metropolitan areas like Boston and New York, Philly's a place to live. So if I've said something that makes sense to you or doesn't make sense to you, leave a comment and let me know, and we can have a discussion about it. So if you're looking to move to the Philadelphia suburbs, around the Philadelphia suburbs, and now that you've heard this video, you're probably not looking to move out of the Philadelphia suburbs unless you just got transferred, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I don't care if it's 9 days, 9 weeks, 9 months from now. I want to help you make a smooth move.